I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome again, Ultimate fans, to our third streamed match of the day, our final stream of the day here at the 2023 Canadian Ultimate Championships, the senior phase of the tournament. We are bringing you a women's division matchup between two Quebec teams, Iris from Quebec and Curb, specifically from Quebec City. We're here at the Newton Athletic Park, a beautiful field with beautiful weather, located here on the traditional territories of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Kwekwetlam, Kaikite, and Tsawwassen First Nations. My name is Clayton Howlett. I'm joined here by Sahab Ansari. Sahab, we just got to see a real fun match between Pipe and Quake, that game ending in a universe win for Quake. And now I think we are promised another exciting game.
Yeah, an absolute nail biter of our first game or second game, stream game of the day. And now we get to see another Quebec versus Quebec battle here. And Quib being the sister team of the Quake team, and Iris on the opposite end in the light jerseys. Both teams fired up, as you can see, Quib getting their dances on. One thing that I did notice when I watched Quib earlier today, when they played their game against Drift, the second team out of British Columbia, they do like to do some line dances to calm their team down. So hopefully we see a couple line dances. Maybe you and I can try following along, Clayton. I, for a fact, cannot line dance. I don't know about you.
Don't put me on the spot like that. But anyway, we had a chance to visit with both teams before the game, and this will be interesting because what we learned is both these teams know each other, and they're actually super pleased today to be showing kind of Canada online here what a Quebec versus Quebec women's match looks like when they're not doing it in their backyard like at regionals or something like that. I say that, and it is a rematch from the finals last year in Brampton, where Elise took that win. But they have played against each other a lot. I did ask Coach Fish of Elise, like, what are your tactics? What are you playing against this team? What have you scoped out? And she says, we already know how they play. And it just went a testament how many times they've played each other. The coaches on group telling me it's been, we've played each other about 30, 40 times. So they are used to each other. They are friendly rivals. is what they told me.
That's what they mentioned. Yeah. And Iris is a very strong mental team. They're a team that's going to peak. Each and every single game, they're going to keep getting better and better, and that's kind of their team focus. They want to make sure that each and every single member of this team is a vital member and well utilized. Let's see if that comes out today as we reach the very first pull from Quip. A little bit of wind catching under that disc.
Yeah, not quite making it past half Cube's pull, and Iris is in white, and they'll come down on offense. We see a zone look from Cube immediately. Beaudry working with her handler core. She'll go over the top to wide open Cote for the first goal of the game. A quick point for Iris. Interesting that we saw that zone right away, Sahab, just because the wind has actually been moving the other way. That we see the wind coming left to right today, so I was a little quizzical with that zone look on the first point.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to say that when you put out that kind of zone look. Some teams are quite comfortable putting out those zones every single point they're on D. Some teams opt to only put it when they are going against the wind. As we can see, Quip putting it on when they're going, when they're on D, regardless. And I'd like to see Quip kind of adjust a little bit, especially when they're going on these against wind points. They need somebody a little bit deeper in the space, right? We saw 2 Iris players in the end zone, completely unmarked, and no Quip player in sight to make that block, right? So I'd like to see that quick adjustment come in from Quip as we carry on with this game. And now Quip on the O-line and Edis on the defensive, ready to set their pull here.
That was a hold, though. So, I mean, Iris doing their job there. So we'll see what their D-line has in store for us. While Cuban will just be moving, from the easier side of from the harder side of the field to the easier side. Now, the wind will be in their favor. So, Iris comfortable, but their offensive line doing their job.
Nice little field there.
Bergeron finds Tilcott. Looking for options. She'll go back. Turcott, a little tic-tac-toe here. Bergeron, pardon me. Tilcott. Bergeron up the line. Oh, some collisions, high stall count. That disc is high up in the air. Kind of punted at a high stall count. Stall down was called, or a stall, I should say, meaning we got to 10. And Sheila Quinto's marking where the disc will come in as it never.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. You know what? I don't think it was a stall down. I just think that was put up and never came in.
It never came in.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Regardless of the stall counts, it was never in. So we're going to continue on from up here on this field, right by the brick mark.
Iris able to stick through a blown tire to the handler reset, and they find Comtois for the goal. Iris showing no problem with the win, kind of playing through it like it's not there. The score now 2-0. Now, a fun fact I learned about Troop this morning, they don't have an O-line or D-line.
Oh, interesting.
They have an upwind and downwind line.
Oh,
so
okay.
You're going to see the same players usually moving in the same direction, right? We've got a wind that is moving left to right. So this staff right now would be the upwind, and we might see downwind later. I said, but what if there's no wind? To the player who helped me out. And she said, well, it's just line 1, line 2. So they've decided that they're going to, be good at both things. And I kind of respect that. I like the idea that, as an ultimate team, you have to recognize that every player on the team has to play offense and defense. You can perhaps play into the fact that if you have a fairly even team, skill-wise, talent-wise, and abilities, that maybe there is a line that just happens to be better at the wind. And if that's what you want to focus on, then you can generate an upwind and downwind group.
Definitely. And it is a very good strategy, right? It allows you to really even out your lines and have both lines able to play defense and offense. And now, as we see, the pull coming in from Iris,
Colbert's pull fielded, went pretty deep. Allow will move it up to Drouin. And they're finding a hole through kind of a sluffy match defense. Saint-Jean looking for a reset. No options. Finds Lesara. Gibel. Lesara. That disc going to pop up high in the air. Lots of folks in the area. A clean defense. Way to get in the way by Aymon and Baudouin. Baudouin with the disc. She'll find the backhand around, keeping that disc low to Robert. Moves it up to Levesque. There's a pick call out of the vertical stack. Sahab, I have a bad habit of connecting to earlier games and trends we see in the tournament, but vertical stack and pick has been constant.
I think that is a tale as old as time, right, Clayton? You're always going to see that as we continue on with the play here. And Iris back with the disc.
Peterson airing that out for Robert. She runs that down, a downwind point for Iris.
Yeah, and that kind of starts off with the Quip players not aggressively making those throws upwind, right? We saw that little bobble against the wind, and we can't have any sort of those soft throws, right, against this wind.
Right.
And Iris able to quickly take advantage of that turnover. Now, Quip going downwind, I look forward to seeing what they're able to put together here. This wind is really starting to pick up.
It is picking up, and it does shift. We've noticed this swell. Now it's kind of coming towards us, and then it goes back left to right. So towards the camera, that is. And so it is hard to kind of determine what the best look is. But the wind is certainly going to play a factor moving forward. We're 7 minutes into the game, and Elise has a 7-point lead. You have to wonder how CUC is going to approach this deficit right now. They've not elected to call it timeout. They're still playing on. You see all the players, though, coming onto the field, taking a knee, and I really like that. That says the coach gives direction to that line. Here's the plan, and you have this whole contingent of players on the sideline now that understand what is about to happen with the offense. Definitely. So hopefully that sideline help can give them a little bit of a boost, but also just connecting with some throws. I think CUC is, they're just doing it to themselves right now.
Yeah. And for those of you listening at home, Edis does not have a 7-point lead, Clayton. Only a 3-point lead.
Oh, did I say 7? I'm sorry.
We did say 7 minutes into the game. But 3-point lead for Edis, and Kip continuing in downfield.
Yeah. Iris kind of sloughing in the lanes here, trying to make the upfield passes very difficult. Hand Lecor for CUC, working it. Bergeron, she'll go around to Letulip. Letulip unloads a big flick bomb. Cotal Dubé outstretches, but it's just a little bit too far. And when the wind is moving left to right, the wind pushes it down just out of reach.
Yeah, and a wonderless effort.
Iris lining up in their vertical offense. Once again, a point deep and then a jack. Oh, Macked. But still right into the hands of Corinne Massé. Peterson finds the reset to Lyonnais. A little tic-tac-toe as Peterson gets it back. Lyonnais gets it back from her. This is interesting, watching the stack, letting their handlers play with it. But it seems Turcotte is there to read the play and make the defensive alert. Latulippe, scooper over the top. Finds Govel. Curb now, seeming to break out of this slough they're dealing with earlier, and just off the hands. And on the second effort, Latulippe is not able to bring it in.
Great effort.
So,
from Latulippe.
Lyonnais will pick up.
And now you're just in their end zone here.
Oh, and elevating number 9, Comtois, and Malte trying to clean up the second effort, and neither can bring in the disc. CUC with another chance to hold. The wind coming down for a moment. Turcotte.
Great find there onto the opposite end of the field.
Couture Dubé in the area to receive that big pass. Latulippe looking for a reset. puts that in front of Bergeron. She unloads a big flick bomb. But the positional awareness of Virginie Malte takes that away.
Yeah, did you see that closing gap of Mate? That is insane. How quick her legs moved there. Able to find that gap or close out that gap, and we see a timeout called here from Iris. This has been some great offensive and defensive work for both teams here. Quib on the offense now, Iris on the offense now, and Quib on the defense. Iris calling a timeout on their goal line. How do we feel about that one, Clay?
Well, sometimes it comes down to maybe this isn't for a plethora of reasons why we should call a timeout on our goal line when we have to go upwind. But you might be thinking as kind of a line captain, right? That you're thinking, well, my line right now is super tired and our cuts are falling off. If we have any hope here, it's to take a rest, right? Maybe it's not the fact that, no, we're still going to get open. We still have a plan. We're still confident in our cutting, but people are starting to show some fatigue. And then if that fatigue is persistent, then we probably will turn it over. So maybe this is, hey, we just need a rest and a little bit of a regrouping here. I do support that timeout. And, when Levesque called that, you could kind of tell she was thinking, my team needs this. There was no hesitation. She wasn't told to do it. She's just like, y'all, let's just relax and look and see they get into a set play here too. So now they have more of a regroup and a plan. We see this split stack.
And I like to see what Iris can really make out of the split stack here. Perhaps maybe looks like a little bit of a poachy look from Quib.
A smart poachy look. I mean, that's what you want to do after these timeouts when a team sets up a play, try and get in their way. I mean, these teams have played each other so much that I wonder if Elise is trying to show something to Cube that Cube hasn't seen before.
Yeah, and as you could hear Cube's coach upset, trying to make sure that their players standing in the right spot and continue on
with the D. Bergeron. She finds Saint-Jean. Saint-Jean will go back to Bergeron. Now Cube showing some confidence. Gauvert. Found Pepin, who puts it out to a receiver. And after jostling it a little bit and keeping us all excited, Roxanne Couture-Dubé brings that in, and Cube gets on the board.
That's
and
amazing grab.
I'll repeat again, composure from Cube, right?
Yeah, composure, definitely way to stay calm and collected here. Great catch from Quib. They're not easy to make that, right? Great movement there. And that all starts right from that timeout, and a great defensive set from Cube there to make sure to find that block, right? Great elevating grab for the block, and they're able to move the disc downwind effectively using both ends of the field and eventually finding a nice around flick to the end zone with a little bit of a bobble, but ending up in a score.
So Elise is up several breaks, but I'd love to see how Cube you love to see how teams like Cube right now bounce back.
Yeah,
and but now what we really need to see is if they can play that shutdown D. I have kind of been paying attention to the personnel for Elise, and I do not think they kind of have the same style as Cube here. I could be completely wrong, but based on what I've observed, they seem to have offensive players in particular out there, while there's also a defensive line. And I'm just looking down at that Elise line, and they're tall.
They're tall. I was just about to say that too, Clayton. That is a tall line, and Elise making their way down the field.
Baudry flips that to a pointing Eloire.
A big throw to a wide open
Here's
receiver.
That out. Topal just unable. Topal unable to get kind of in that layout range.
And like you said earlier, that wind is really just going to punt those down. And as I say that, another throw punted down onto the ground.
Eloire. She goes around to Baudry, who hangs that for Emon, but Emon stretching out with one hand, doesn't bring it in, and Krug immediately unleashes a big backhand huck. It's going to fade and just bounces off the hands of Saint-Jean. Chibel's throw, that was a cannon.
Saint Jean, great closing speed on that as well. Quick legs,
Oh,
quick
not
movement.
Saint-Jean, I'm sorry about that. That was Drouin with the big huck. Eloise taking off for the huck from Godel. And too far. Seeing the wind again, right? The wind it's going both ways right now, pushing the disc too far for receivers, moving from left to right, kicking it up for receivers running right to left.
Yeah, and it's not easy to throw in this one. Like we've said before many times today, both teams able to keep their composure on these short throws now. So we see a cut from Saint Jean.
See if we see an adaptation right now if teams are going to kind of stop taking these big shots as they haven't been working out, and we do. So now some more small ball ultimate frisbee here. Ultimate, that is. Whoops. Oh, and no call off that contact. That just seemed to get lost in Viet Matt's hands there. And this time, Pepin's able to error it out to space easily to Lasara. Iris, 4. Cube, 1.
Yeah, and that's the downwind point that you're talking about, and that is an O point for Edis as well. Keep doing a good job of making sure that you just really have to work for that one, right? And also kind of knocking on the doorsteps a couple times, right? Getting that big huck coming and working really, really hard for this upwind point. As we continue on with this game, if this wind carries on as it is going to be more and more difficult, and we might see goals come in on only one half of the field, Clayton.
You hope not.
Yeah, you really hope not.
We are taking a water break right now. They're 45 seconds long. Once the humidex reaches a certain height or severity number, teams are forced to take water breaks on multiples of 4, 8, or 12. So we do have a water break right now. So think of it as just a little bit of an extended time between points. It has been interesting that a lot of teams not used to taking water breaks have actually been having a struggle getting back onto the line in time for the pull or to pull. It's been kind of quirky. It's usually most teams that have played at a national level and have played in tournaments with observers and timekeepers are generally pretty good about being ready for the pull. But the water break is throwing everybody. I think everybody gets that shade, gets that water, and says, oh, okay, just managing myself. And before you know it, that 45 seconds is up. They don't realize it. And then suddenly not everybody's on the line. We see, players from Krug going on quite late, and they only have 20 seconds to be ready.
Definitely.
Now.
And it's like you said, not easy to keep track of that time. 45 seconds is a very, very short time in between points for that water break. And then immediately right after having to put up that pole.
Loving the sideline energy from Elise right now, all the different ways they can signal defense.
Yeah, and Kip as well, doing the same thing, getting some good energy on the sideline as we carry on with this point here.
So we see that slough in the middle. So instead of playing total hip-on-hip defense right now, we see Elise willing to slough off that offside handler and get in the way of the lanes, and it pays off as Malte gets the big run through D, and Janae will pick up. Janae looking for options. There is a pick call signaled by those muscly arms in the air. And Janae and Latulippe will determine what the count was. Autumn Toki there to verify the count. Always love the help from the observers. It is coming in on 6. It seems that Baudouin just has to go back to where she was when the infraction occurred. So 6 count. I'm expecting Baudouin to go up the line hard and then Massé to come back. Never mind. Baudouin goes up the line off a good flick dish. She's looking for options. Peterson comes out of the stack, a big IO and an athletic grab by Ernest. Malte. Baudouin. Looking for options, looks off the IO instead, elects to go around to Janae. Shanae doesn't like that IO flick. That was a tight window. That one's a bit bigger, able to move it up. And Elise cascades that throw from Massey, going over everyone's head, but in the back there was Malte ready to gobble it up.
And Clinton, I really love this. What Edis does is it feels like there's always a second person ready coming out of that end zone stack just in case something goes over the heads of the thrower, right? So, or sorry, of the intended receiver. So Edis really, really playing this sort of heads up game, understanding how to play in this win. This is a seasoned team. They have played in all kinds of nationals tournaments, including worlds tournaments as well. Last year they played, or sorry, years previous they played at CUC, which is the World Ultimate Club Championships, right? So they have quite a bit of experience as a team. And this is a team that loves to work together. They love to make sure they maintain their good, strong mental and push each other to be better players, right? And yeah, it's not easy to score those upwind points, but Edith's making it look quite simple.
They are making it look quite simple. The score 5-1 for Iris. We are still pretty far away from the halftime cap at the 45-minute mark. A whistle will go, and then a point is added to the highest score, and that is where we will take half. But with the way things are going, Iris is on good track to take half with 8 points here. A big layout block by Emma Ernest, just stretching out, getting some fingertips on that to cause the bobble. Lyonnais moves that around to Ernest, hitting the ground is Comtois, and she'll put that out to space for Laniel Ducharme. And now the lead extending to 6-1.
Yeah, and that play, just like you said, starts off with Ernest with an amazing layout block, right? Really, really extending herself out there, putting her whole body on the line. It is not easy to do that, right? And she really extends, gets a little fingertip on it. That's more than enough to distract the CUC player from being able to receive that catch. And yeah, like we said again, right? Iris able to get these quick deep points, right? That was probably one of the quickest points that we've seen this game. Iris quickly transitioning and getting that downwind point, what they need from their D line, right? And as their D line steps back onto the field here, I'd like to see if they're gonna end up doing anything different going upwind.
Yeah, it's the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What they've got going on is working. They are showing that they're able to make those great defensive plays.
Yeah.
And starting from a lot of organized planning in how they're going to throw a defense. Last time Troop was going downwind, what we saw is that the players on defense that were marking handlers and handlers that didn't have the disc, they would slough. They would go poach in the lane to cause any easy throws that would just be 5-10 yards to no longer be an option. See if we see it again here. We don't. Seeing a pretty honest match defense here. Bergeron able to find a receiver in the middle of Laurent. She will flip that up to Couture du Bay. La Tulipe puts up a flick. It's an OI. It's going to fade. It's moving away from everybody. And Fautier, with the excellent read, knew exactly where that disc was going to go and was all by herself to get it. Finds a reset in La Tulipe. Fautier gets it back. She punches that into number 7, Maëlle Roux. Really good heads-up play there from Marianne Fautier as everybody else, and this is something I like to talk about, Sahab, is everyone else started wondering how they were going to post up against the opposing players so that they could get a play on the disc without ever really putting themselves underneath it where they could get the disc early, where they knew they could jump to get it.
Yeah.
Fortier, on the other hand, was like, well, I'll just go over here by myself where I'm clearly going to get the disc, where I know exactly where I can get it, and came up with it.
Yeah. And also, I'd like to give a little shout out to Beautrier there as well. She perhaps could have made a defensive effort on that, but opting out of it to make sure that she doesn't make that dangerous play, right? That's one of those dangerous plays that could easily become a blindside where both players are eyes into the sky. And I've seen it thousands and thousands of times coaching juniors where both players are looking in the air and bonk goes each other's heads
Yeah.
both to the ground. We get a quick stoppage of play, and I'm glad that didn't happen there. I was a little bit worried as I saw that disc in the air for hanging for a while. But yeah, Quip able to make that quick around. Love to see that. And that's what they really need to be doing, making sure as they are doing to use both halves of the field. That's really how they're going to get away from this Edis defense. As
So the
Cube
score
lines up for this pull.
Score now 6-2. Cube's pull. Past half, just about at the brick mark. Iris picks up. They're in their split stack again. That's a tango as two players streak across and one goes in and out. Godel gets that moving. Iris moving the disc quickly. Prévost has Topal. She'll lay that out to Baudry. And what an answer,
Yeah,
as
definitely.
they say.
Both on both sides of the offense and defense, able to make quick work of the field. Excellent little run in, and another great throw from the Iris player there.
7-2. Iris leading. We are, let's see how far we are from halftime cap here. 18 minutes. We are 27 minutes into the game. And it's interesting that there hasn't been a timeout call made by Krug. Often you expect teams when they're down by this much and another team clearly has momentum that you'll take a timeout. I don't know if it's because Krug is sort of finding their rhythm. Maybe the coaches are thinking, there's nothing we really need to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? It's just some execution stuff. They did get a timeout earlier thanks to Elise, who called one when they needed to regroup and set up a split stack play. So perhaps, Krug is just thinking right now, it's not as if we don't know what to do. We've got lots of personnel, about 3 lines worth of players. We can get the rotation on.
Yeah, and maybe Cube is saving those timeouts for when they need them in the red zone, right? So perhaps that's how they like to use their timeouts, and they'd rather opt to do that, especially against the team that they've versed before, right? A team that they've matched up quite a few times against. So as we carry on with this game here, Cube on the offense.
Bergeron looking for options. Has Bizot. Bergeron. She'll find a hole through the middle to Long Épée.
Nice little grab there.
Long Épée. She'll go up the line. Turcotte moves that around. And a big flick cock from Bizot. And alone in the back, Annabelle Dufour. Curb brings the score up to 3, but Iris leading with 7. Half will be taken at 8, by the way. Half is always taken at 8 unless the halftime cap interferes. So half will be at 8. 4-point lead for Iris. Iris, as I like to say, in the driver's seat right now. They are on what has typically been the harder side of the field. Now they're on O. So they're going to be moving towards the easier side. So
Iris kind of starting to take over this game, but Quip able to come back, right? Getting those 2 holds that they desperately needed, able to move it again, or with this win. Now, what I'd like to see from Quip to carry on is they're going to need to get these upwind breaks, right? So this is where the challenge really starts to begin for Quip and for Edis as well, carrying on to continue getting those upwind breaks as they have been getting so far, right? They are downwind now on offense. And as Quip lines up for the pull here, I'd like to see if anything different comes about. We did see an early zone coming from Quip. Let's see if that happens once again. It's a little bit of a coach conversation as that pull sails a little bit past, or a little bit before the brick mark.
Iris setting up in a horizontal offense. moving the disc with ease. I can't keep up as they're moving the disc so quickly, person to person.
Finding a quicker round.
Edouard airs that out to number 95, Bisson, but she's unable to reel that in as the wind kept pushing it away as she tried to make that grab.
And Bisson also tried to keep that in. It looked like on the far side of the field, she would have just been barely out if she had grabbed it earlier. But now, as you see, Quip getting set up here. And it looks like,
I believe it's Drouin with the disc. Iris, you see some players with their back to the disc there. They're trying to throw that poach in the middle. Ooh, athletic save there by the Cube handler. We'll find out who that was, give credit where credit's due. But a tight throw, and Cote is able to reach in there. A foul called. Looks like a foul strip, as Drouin is arguing. Hand signals, we love it. Thank you, Cote. Foul, no contest. Drouin will keep the disc.
maybe she didn't contest it because she wanted to get a Callahan. As we see, carrying on to the field here.
Allow. That's intercepted by Chu.
Quick downfield look.
Cote available in the deep end for Topal. And Iris increases her score to 8, while Cube has 3. So that should bring us to halftime. Sahab, I mean, there we just really saw Iris put on pressure as they could feel themselves as sharks circling.
I think part of this is a little bit of a confidence thing, right? Quip not having the best game in regionals against Edis having that strong showing, right? Being a long-standing team. And it does come with that little bit of confidence, right? Both teams, it isn't easy to play on the stage, right? When you have all these people standing in the stands, sitting in the stands, and also people watching at home on stream. And along with this wind, I'm sure you could probably hear it coming through the microphone. It is
really, getting gusty.
Really starting to get strong. And as we carry on to the second half, I'd like to see Quib make a few adjustments, right? Make sure that they're able to get those good arounds, make sure that they're able to force those blocks, making sure that they're not getting broken on the throws. And Edis, what I'd like to see them do is carry on as they've been doing so far, quickly moving the disc, finding the gaps in the Quib defense, and punching it in with those big throws.
They'll have time to talk about it in this 8-minute half. We'll be back with you in about 5 minutes as we take a break ourselves. Stay tuned. Welcome back, fans. Our final streamed half of the day about to begin here on the B Apparel Showcase Field here in Surrey, British Columbia. BE Ultimate, one of the sponsors of this tournament, providing apparel to the staff. They do jerseys for some teams. They sell a lot of swag. They have a big tent here that you can come down and get all the stuff you want, or look them up online and order your favorite stuff. We're also sponsored by Discraft, providing us the most important piece of equipment for these tournaments, the game discs, which have proven to be popular. We're particularly popular in our juniors tournament. And when I say popular, I mean we didn't finish with as many as we started.
Oh, yeah, and that tends to happen for those juniors tournaments, right? I think every single team, along with the tournament directors, can say that more than 90% of discs do not make it back to where they belong. As we continue on with this game, a big roller pull from Iris.
Iris currently up 8-3 against Cube. Seeing a zone look from Iris. Bergeron, patient, able to find Faultier. Faultier punches it through. And stretching out to make that catch. Cube keeping it alive. His number is 16, Catherine Laurent. That huck
downfield.
Yeah, too high, kind of floaty. Iris able to snack on that. Comtois was ready for it. Baudouin. Robert puts that out in front of Levesque in the wind. A good snappy throw to get through it. We might see some pupils showing off their muscles, but no, that is the pick signal, as there is a pick in the vertical stack.
Yeah,
Stall
that's
coming
the
in
first
at
pick
2.
that we've had in a little while, so
yeah,
overall been quite good between both teams.
Baudouin looking around to go to Comtois, but that bounces off of her hands. Curb.
Oh, Comtois really working hard to try to get that one back.
So Dubé working with her handler car. Fortier has it. She sees an option. Instead goes for the dump to Bergeron. To Pepin. Laurent. Looking for options. Pepin's able to reel that one in. And unable to convert. Daphne Gauvert.
Yeah. Those soft throws just are not easy to convert with, right? They don't stay up in the air long enough, and it's not easy with this kind of wind.
Baudouin. A snappy backhand to the break side. And Comtois is able to move that up to Zhu. Zhu. The wind kicks up her throw. Lots of bodies underneath. Massé able to post up. Massé flips it to Baudouin for a reset. Baudouin not really seeing any options until she finds a backhand break. But number 88 for Curb, Camille Bizot, with the big hand block, forcing that disc into the ground to keep this point alive for Curb.
That was a little interesting. I thought I heard a little bit of a clap between hands, but maybe that was between the disc and the mark there.
Bergeron goes up the line to Marianne Faultier. She was open, but it just goes through her hands.
Yeah, Fortier makes it a good cut, but unfortunately with this kind of wind, it's not easy to get that pinpoint throw there.
Baudouin. Oh, holsters that dump. Started to run out of time. Massé trying to get big again. There's lots of traffic. And that disc is knocked down by Cube.
Number 3 there.
Well, that time Fortier elevating for that pass from Bergeron. They find Pepin in the middle. Fortier. Coulthard Dubé puts that out in front of Bergeron, but with the wrong edge on it, that wind just pushes it away from her. Baudouin will pick up once again, calls a timeout. I like this one, Sahab. Right now, we see that Baudouin was holding the disc for a long time, the last few times she's had it, in generally the same position of the field, not really getting the cut she's wanted, didn't get the reset she wanted. And last time, kind of got lucky, and then it was a disorganized offense all the way the rest of it down the field until that big kind of sky ball.
Yeah, definitely. And these kind of upwind points are the most important ones, right? She knows that. We know that. And almost everyone on the field knows that, right? They understand that these are the most important ones where they're really going to make or break the game. So she wants to make sure that she can secure this in for her team. And I agree. I do think that it is a smart decision to make that timeout call and a veteran decision at that. Carrying on here, I'd like to see what Iris pulls out as we're just now finishing the timeout. We get our offensive set ready.
We've seen Iris do some pretty nifty plays.
Yeah. And
Out of their
personally, I
timeouts.
love this. Having the observers here, making sure that they're keeping track of the timeout calls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. Coming from a juniors coach who tends to see timeouts go 3-4 minutes long, I love to see these quick timeouts.
Yeah. Now, whatever offense sets after a timeout, the defense does get an additional 20 seconds to work out where they're going to go. So we see a very rigid formed vertical stack here.
Yeah, and this is sort of a poachy look from Cube.
Yeah.
Right, they got players on both sides of the field as we carry on with the play.
They'll go around to Levesque. Levesque finding Comtois. Robert gets that back to the middle to Baudouin. Baudouin looking for a reset. Massé is there, losing some yards though. Well, Massé trying to do that step in backhand, loses her balance. Is able to stay with it though and get it to Robert. Ooh, some speed from number 38, Leoné, but a massive layout block from, I believe that was number 42, Daphne Gauvert. Huge athletic play to keep this point alive yet again.
Yeah, Daphne Gauvert really, really putting in the effort. And, oh, just
Massé
that.
Elevating to stop that huck to Couture Dubé. Jou. Oh, and a big block. Bizot.
We love to see that. Great hand block from Bizot.
Cube. Finding the small dish to Bergeron. She will call a timeout. Our second timeout of the point. The first taken by Cube in this point. The score still 8-3. This is our first point out of half.
And this is a hard one for sure. This is one of those ones where it really does come down to the coaches, right? Coaches got to pull out something to play on the offensive set, and not only that, they got to kind of predict what the defensive set is going to end up being, right? So they got to make sure that their players understand how to play on both ends of the field and what is going to happen and what could potentially happen, right? So I'd like to see what Cube is able to pull out here, and I'd also like to see if Iris is going to do anything different, if they're going to set up that zony look, kind of like how Cube did against them when they called their timeouts.
Perhaps a set play appropriate in the spot. You know, you got the wind with you. You're about half field. Cube has demonstrated that they do have big throws, so
yeah, and it definitely looks like this is
a very
deep setup. Yeah,
perhaps a dominator. Dominator, if you don't know what it is, that's where the handlers are given all the room to work together. This is a horizontal set. It's kind of squished towards the middle of the field. You're not really seeing Cube extend themselves out to each sideline here. So it's just they go for the long under. It doesn't work out and just can't be kept by Cube. Fortier did her best, but off her hands. Roberge unloads. Not quite in is Levesque. She'll go to Massey. Massey with the IO break and the sure hands of Iris bring that in. Malte with the goal.
Yeah, and you love to see that from Udis. They got such great bombs on their throws. Amazing hug against the wind, too. That is not an easy thing to do. Really, really moving it through the space. And a great grab there as well. Yeah, carrying on. Love to see that come through as Udis keeps pushing it forward down the field.
And forward to 9-3. So a big point lead right now. And now they're on that difficult side of the field. We're still 35 minutes away from soft cap. So should we approach that time, we will let you know how that is going to work.
Yeah, it was quite a little bit of a difficult play for Cube there. They were quite close on the goal line there, maybe once or twice, but not able to punch it in. And yeah, it really does seem like they're starting to figure out their rhythm overall, right? It's not easy to kind of play in this sort of weather. It's not easy to play against a team that you've played against multiple times. But I really, really do enjoy seeing how they're moving it up the field as a team. As we get this pull coming through from Iris.
So Iris coming down match defense, but you see that poach in the lanes we were remarking earlier to break up the play. Allow. Looking for an option. Goes to Drouin. Drouin runs that down. She tries to put that out in front of Lassara, but she was kind of already boxed out by Elsa Chu. They're having a discussion. That's a tough one, Sahab. I feel like Danny, I think Danny had brought it up, but someone brought up something interesting the other day and said, if you're going to throw into coverage and you know you're about to receive it in coverage, these foul calls can be a really difficult thing because she already had position and then they both reach for the disc at the same time.
Yeah, and as we say that, the uncontested call is coming through, and when the block did happen, I did notice the Edis player looked over at the Q player kind of before the call was even made, trying to
just
check to
wondering
see if she was going to make that foul call. So, and that foul call is made, but it does not matter as we get a wonderful hand block
by Leniel Duchalme.
Edis back on the offense. Pick called. Great movement there to call the pick and immediately catch the disc right after. Quick, fast hands. If you do not know, you do have to catch the disc if a pick is called. Otherwise, it is a turnover. Yeah, so it was quite important for her to catch that disc.
Good heads up play by Janae. She'll go around to Peterson. Peterson back to Janae. He's showing some discipline here. Peterson and Janae happy to play together. If they don't want to take a shot, that might be risky. Oh, able to save that is Julia Bisson.
Great read from Julia Bisson.
Chu finds Janae. And that flick is a really tight shot.
Yeah.
When you're hitting that inside shoulder, or you're trying to hit the outside shoulder, and that hits the inside shoulder. So thrown basically essentially behind the receiver.
Yeah, really, really hard for both the receiver and the offensive player. Oh, a nice big around throw here for Cube.
Oh, huge
Great
run through
block.
bid. That was number 39, Emma Ernest.
Ernest lunging into the sky for that block. Nita's on the doorsteps. First throw, able to secure it. That is number 3, Matais.
Malte from Janae.
Securing that goal for Edis.
So our score now, 10-3 for Iris. Remaining in control in this game. Battling through a few mistakes. But Cube showing their professionalism, their composure as they put out a line. Everyone safe for the last line that just played is out on the field, waiting for the line call, taking a knee when their name is called. I'm stealing that. Can tell how many people you've called.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
always
nice.
call 6 and forget the 7th, and that is a very good strategy.
Yeah, and on these kind of games where you have the observers and you're kind of on this time limit, right? You gotta be fast. You cannot be slow when you're calling the line, when you're prepping your team, right? You otherwise you just won't have time to let them know what you want them to know on the line, right? And yeah, it's quite effective a way of getting the team together. And yeah, perhaps I might steal it as well.
So
Edis now ready for the pull.
it'll be into the wind as it is moving left to right at this moment. And it's going to turn over on its edge there. Looking IO at first. Goes away. Lands in bounds, though. And Cube with a set play. Gets it to Longepe. And not the intended receiver, but Govel there to collect.
Yeah, Gover with a great heads-up play there. Unfortunately, a quick turnover now. Edis on the offensive end.
Eloy picks up. Finds Beaudry. Beaudry's going to throw a laser that doesn't ever really go higher than anyone's hip level.
But it is called a foul here. A foul is being called.
Oh, thank you.
And as we continue on with the play here, we're trying to get people to stop.
I didn't even notice. Good eyes there, Zahab. I and basically everyone else on the field thought we were just continuing on as normal. So perhaps why that throw was so low was there was a foul on the throw.
Yeah, and it seems perhaps that the foul is going to be uncontested. Observer ruling not necessary as we carry on with the play.
Stall one. He's looking for a reset. They find Prévost.
Great around throw there.
Emo throws that on the inside of Topal. She's not able to bring it in. Krug picks up.
Nice athletic effort from Topal.
Yeah. Doha airs that out for Turcotte. Oh, digging that up out of the ground. Faultier keeps it alive, gives it to Fabre. And she tries to put that out in front of Turcotte, but kind of high, kind of far.
Yeah, those are hard. When your legs are tired, it's not easy to change that direction quickly.
Elevating. Topal to keep that. Flips it to Beaudry. Beaudry is going to put it out to space.
Nice little block there. Trying to see who that was.
That throw. I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of fatigue right now, Sahab.
Yeah.
Cube seems to get this going, but, Longepe's throw just a little too far away. Just going to force towards us on the sideline. Eloy airs that out. Easily caught by Chloe Emo. Great throw, especially with the wind, just to have the confidence to put up that half-field bomb with the right edge cutting into the wind, and it just sits.
Yeah, and
for
that's
Emo.
some amazing communication between teammates, right? They looked at each other, and as soon as she picked up that disc, she launched it knowing that her teammate would be on the receiving end of that. No questions asked.
The score, 11-3. And we were saying earlier just about the cap, and I guess I'll talk about it now as we're getting into that territory. In about 27 minutes, the soft cap will go on. There is no hard cap in these games. I just love talking about cap rules. It's kind of my thing. And when the soft cap horn goes, the current point will end, and the ensuing point won't be played as hard cap. Instead, they'll look at the scores, and the highest score will have one added to it, and the first team to that score will win the game. So in these games, you have to score to win. I mean, Iris, kind of like they were in the first half, on track to beat the cap to 45 minutes. They got to 8 before 45 minutes. Right now, we're kind of seeing them 4 points to go, running away with this game. Fatigue is setting in, though. So we could see a cap, or Iris could close this out with 15. I think a little too soon to tell, but they definitely haven't let up the pressure against Cube.
Yeah, and like we saw during that last game, that rule set is the difference maker, right? That is the reason why Quake was able to make that comeback as we carry on into this game here. And it's a slough look from Iris. Oh, quick laser trying to get through.
Contois just kind of sticks up her hand to protect herself and gets the D. Janae will go back to Contois. She doesn't like that up the line. She'll find Janae. Janae swinging it out to space. Leonet flips that back to Janae. Janae throws a bullet.
Great second effort there.
Yeah, Ernest's second effort there needed. That throw had a lot of spice on it. Curb will just answer back and try and send it down the field, but Levesque saw it coming, flips it to Robel. Robel is going to try and put that in front of everybody, and an extremely athletic catch by Emma Ernest, twisting around in the air, extending high to make a great grab. The score now, Iris 12, Cube 3.
And Ernest kind of redeeming herself there, getting that end zone grab after she just made that amazing second effort. You know, I want to mention, I really love Courtois and how she's playing both the offense and the defense here. She's moving quickly and effectively, able to get away from her defender, and on top of that, able to generate blocks. She's able to get the blocks on D, and it's really, really great to have a player on your team that's able to do things on both ends of the field, and she's definitely one of those players. Really, really, really important key player for the Edith squad here today.
So we're seeing what looks like a timeout, but it isn't. This is a water break. So like I was saying earlier, 4, 8, 12 are the intervals in this game where we must take a break of some kind, 45 seconds long for players to hydrate, as it's pretty warm here in Surrey, British Columbia.
Yeah, quite uncharacteristic if I do say so. Usually around this time of the year, we'd be having rain, and a little bit more rain, Clayton.
Well, I'm kind of glad that's not the case. Checking my weather app here. By no means the official gauge for the tournament, but it is 30 degrees here right now. A little windy, but Humidex's reading feels like 36, which is pretty warm.
Yeah.
And these turf fields, they like to take the heat and just give it right back. So it is a little bit warmer here, playing on the artificial turf.
Yeah, if you look closely at the ground, Clayton, you can see those heat waves.
Yeah.
It is hot, ladies and gentlemen. So, as we carry on here, Edith back at it again on defense, ready to pull. And yeah, here we have again the defense cheer from Edith. Loving hearing this little echo cheer. Yeah, this is really, really great. And Cube kind of responding back with their own little cheer. And as we hear an offside call from the observer.
So offsides are now always on the defense. That was offside on Iris. And if an offense moves too quickly before a pull, it's actually called a false start now. So any offside you hear now for forevermore is on the defense. Number 88 with the disc. Bizot looking for options. Finds Bergeron. She'll go around to La Tulipe. La Tulipe finds a Longue Epée. She's able to get that to La Tulipe, but kind of spicy and just bounces off her hands. Iris with the shot here. Naomi Peterson picks up. Peterson's flick break is great all the time in the world for Lamel Duel Mausch to pick it up, but
Wow.
kind of an uncharacteristic turnover by.
That was strange. I don't know if you saw it, but the wind kind of just took over that disc.
Yeah.
And it did not get to the intended location that it was going to.
Was a gust. It has been gusty here. Bergeron is able to get that up to Longue Epée, but not in. that disc sailing past its intended receiver. But I believe we have a stall down called.
Stall down uncontested.
Yeah.
Thank you for the hand signals. Disc is going to go down to the ground. Tapped in.
It's interesting though. If I was Elise, I would actually want it in Robel's hands in the middle rather than down in the corner.
Yeah, definitely. And we see Robert picking it up here.
Peterson moves it to Robel. So Elise, having no problem moving the disc to a more favorable part of the field. Peterson. Oh, a bid there by Bisson is not enough to reel in that high pass. That was top shelf corner. That was really difficult to get to. Bergeron will come and pick up. Oh, and that just bounces off the hands of Camille Bizot. She didn't really know what happened. Baudouin picks up, flips that out to Bisson. Bisson has Peterson. Peterson hits Chu. Goes back to Peterson. Lots of room for her to run onto it. She tries to air one out. But again, that kind of flips up high for Julia Bisson. And Krub is able to get the D.
This has been a long point, Clayton.
Yeah.
And as we hear that, the disc gets floated into the air because, and we see Robert going down with a cramp.
Luckily, lots of teammates and Coach William Landy, Coach Jamie Hoover there to help her right away. Hoover, well known in Ultimate, started GOAT. Is there right away to help her out? Cramps are not fun.
Yeah, definitely. And this early into the tournament, getting that kind of cramp, really, really makes it difficult. You got to head back to the hotel room, get a lot of electrolytes back in you, a lot of the sodium, potassium, right? Everything that you need in your body to make sure that you're not cramping it.
Luckily, the last round of pool play for the women today, though.
Yeah.
So, Robel won't be missing too much play time, and I'd say Elise is okay to lose her right now, just for the day. Peterson finds Topal. Topal, big long underfind to Malte with the wheels, finds Bisson. Elise now just working it up the line, unchallenged, the jam side, but it doesn't seem to matter. That is centered to Baudouin. Back around to Baudry. Baudry, backhand break to Bisson. Bisson with the push pass.
Push pass. Wow, great push pass from Bisson.
To Baudry. Elise throwing some style in as they go up 13-3.
13-3 now. Yeah, Edis really, really finding their groove here, able to effectively move the disc up the field. And yeah, right after that little change in players, right off that big pull, Edis just able to effectively move it up the field. It seemed like they were tired of that point and they wanted to finish it. All it took was just a little realization.
Yeah, you need to remember that discipline. You're like out there thinking, man, I am not having fun right now. Yeah. I am bored of this point. I am bored of this heat. I'm over it. And I want this point to end. And I sometimes see those, those insidious thoughts start to impact your play as you just air out hawks. You take shots that aren't really advised. You throw into coverage. You throw into the wind.
Yeah.
But there, Iris, like you said, finding that groove. Settling in and being like, okay, come on. Just under, smart reset, goal.
And as we see, Eunice kind of in a little huddle here, maybe.
Looks like a timeout to me, just based on the way that the observers are counting and coaches are
not sure who
time.
called the timeout, but perhaps Eunice, as they are the ones in the huddle.
Yeah. Well, We are just about 15 minutes out of the soft cap.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what happens here, and though this point this game has kind of gotten a little bit away from Cube, they still have a lot left in the tank, right? It might be the last game of the day, but they still have something to show, right? This is their rival, and yeah, I'd like to see them pull out a couple more points here. Really show in 110% of their efforts to bring out the last few points for the end of the game.
So I see Autumn Toki, our observer on the right, explaining to the Cube coach exactly how the offsides will be called at this tournament. If offside is signaled and it's against that pulling team, the offense has to let the disc fall to the ground, and after that, they'll be told where to take it with favorable field position. But if they catch it, it's as if it never happened. Elise playing a honest match defense right now, not seeing any poaches. A good find to Viet Matt. Kind of gets Cube to break out in this offense. Gilbert looking for options. Is able to find Lissara. Her throw, though, to inside, and that's picked off by Iris, number 14, Godel. Just unable to finish those last two steps, edged out by Turcotte, I believe.
Yeah, Turcotte's closing speed there is something to be impressed about. And as we see this little slough look from Edis, set up, keep trying to move the field or just down the field here.
Cube kind of looking stagnant in the cutting lanes, no real options. Finding a dump eventually to Turcotte. Turcotte tries to move that, as fast as she can to kind of break out of this danger zone in the end zone here. Cloutier finds a receiver eventually. That disc kind of lofty in the wind. And
a little bit too quick there.
Yeah, Beaudry trying to just punch that in. I mean, you could have waited as you were on the line there, but Iris still showing this clamp defense. And that pass goes off the hands of Turcotte. Drouin Jacques has a flick around to Eloire. Eloire, open side find to Beaudry. And Beaudry is able to punch that into number 27, Nina Prévost, the spirit captain of Iris.
Yeah, great little punch in there from Prévost. Nice little catch. Great cut from the back of the stack as well. And yeah, that puts Edis on game points now.
That's right.
So yeah, as we carry on with the rest of this game, Cube now calling in their lines here, setting up. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they've given up. They're still putting in a lot of great effort on the defensive space, and I love to see it.
The other thing, they won their two other games today.
Yeah.
So in their pool, right, this is not as if this is a do or die game for Cube. It's not as if they lost their first two games and be relegated out of this tournament if they lost this game. They did beat Drift 13-10 earlier today, and they beat PPF 15-5.
Yeah.
Iris also won against those two teams, so it'll actually be one of those two teams, PPF and Drift, kind of fighting to stay in it right now. Unfortunately, we can't see where they are to tell you who, but Cube losing this game, which, I mean, I'll just say is what's going to happen at this point, unless we see the greatest comeback in Canadian Ultimate that I can remember.
Yeah.
But, Cube is going to come second in their pool, and that's still a favorable position to be in for the rest of the tournament. They have a lot of intel on Iris now, and the kind of things they're throwing at them. So that poll doesn't go very far. Its edge catches the wind, and it's pushed backwards to about Iris's brick. So Cube is in a good spot here. They'll center it. They're essentially in an end zone set
Yeah.
15
and
yards is where you usually set up in the play.
Courtois asking, clarifying with the observer whether or not she can take it to the middle there. Oh, nice block there.
Comtois
Number 9,
with the
Comtois,
read.
once again back in the defensive space and immediately making a cut on the offensive space as well.
Janae finds Levesque. Levesque around to Zhu. She puts it out. We have a pick call now. Number 39 there, Emma Ernest, climbing the ladder to keep that alive. But there was a pick. I don't know if it was on Ernest. No,
Didn't
it
seem like it.
looks like no. It looks like Zhu's check number 7, Maëlle Roux, needed to catch up. Reset to the middle to Lyonnais. Genet. She'll find a wide open Ernest. A little give go here. Ernest into the end zone, and that'll do it. Iris, excuse me, pulling out the win against Curb, 15-3. Sahab, Iris clearly in control this entire game.
Yeah, and that's just kind of what Iris has to say, right? They are the dominant team here. They're the team with experience, and they really came out here to play, right? And it's kind of what I expected to see, based off of their regional game. And Cube definitely able to pull out a little bit more from the tank, right? They were able to score a few more points and really push themselves against this wind here. It was not easy to play here today. Edis coming out as a stronger team, really showing it here today. And I look forward to watching them during the rest of this tournament, and hopefully look forward to seeing them later in one of our bracket play games.
Well, that does it for our stream today. You'll be able to tune in tomorrow. Check the stream schedule to see what games interest you, as we'll bring you more action from the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023 edition here for the senior phase of our tournament. My name is Clayton Hallett, and my colleague Sabansari will be on the stream with you tomorrow.
Thanks so much for tuning in.